Sorry for the Minecraft music in the background. It felt so appropriate. I'm relaxing and I'm thinking about my life, and I'm so glad it's only 12. Last night I was up until 2, like, kind of just filtering my thoughts. I don't know if anybody else does that. Like, literally, like a filing cabinet almost, and like writing a bunch of notes. Usually, what I do at nighttime, kind of like journaling, but with a lot of categories. If that makes sense. I don't know. I always have this inclination to be so organized. So I guess that's probably why I do that. And it took me a long time to sort of get all my thoughts out. So I was kind of like thinking to myself, oh, maybe I'm about to go to bed. I have to go to bed now, you know, because I've been waking up pretty late and I've been feeling like I don't have very much time in the day, but yeah, I guess it's about time I start pushing my schedule back again. I don't know, I guess since everybody's been on break, my family and stuff, I've been staying up past 12, and usually I do much better if I see the morning, you know? Like, I'm not a morning person, but I have to accept that I do much better in the morning, if that makes sense. If I have a morning to have, you know? I don't know. I just noticed that makes me feel better. and I put what I was thinking last night, and then today, this morning, it kind of bled into today, where I was kind of like, I really want, I have this feeling of like giving back, like this spirit to give back so badly, an intention. And like, I was just thinking about this right before I got on live. Like, I don't know how I can give back, but I know that if things were to come to fruition for me, if all of my hard work pays off, and like the work that's like really repetitive and becomes like the work where it becomes boring, not that I don't want to do it, but it just becomes boring because of like my ADHD. Like, I can't just like focus on, you know, doing one task at a time for too long, a job or anything. I don't know if anybody relates to that. So if I can get through that and it works out, I was thinking about all the people I want to give back to. And I was also thinking about how some people might feel like that's like the downfall for them, giving to the wrong people, giving to people that don't deserve, based on how they treat you, what their actions show, if they really take you for granted or not. And I was thinking about some of my friends, and I was thinking of some of my family that I'd like to do that with, if it all works out. Hello. And I was thinking about that really, really, you know, intently, you know, how that person shows up for me, undivided, willing, actually shows care, maybe even selfless love, just like however, support in any way, even if it's just emotional. And thankfully, I just have been able to choose such friends, you know, and be so sweet to me. So I think it's just part of me that's kind of feeling that way. And I don't know if it's because of the new year. I don't know if it's just because of my thoughts from last night bleeding into today. And it kind of got me to that place where I was like, I want to give back so bad, you know? So I was thinking of some of the things my friends have told me about. Like some of the things they went through that are causing them financial hardship. My mom, especially, going through something very hard. Um, one day I'd like to buy her a house before she passes away. Or if I could, buy her house back. I don't know. So I feel bad that she doesn't have it and that she doesn't have anywhere to live and that she might have put all her efforts into something for it to be taken. And I would like to do that for her. Or at least have a big enough house where she could live with me, you know, and my family. We could all just live together. You know, I see some cultures do that, and I wish most people did it. But, you know, I understand how America is. It's, you know, a push for individualism and self-prioritization, and, you know, that's part of our culture, so I can understand how it's different. But I wish I could live like that for the sake of her being older and being retired technically. It's like it's hard. But I'd like to do that for her. And a few of my family members too. They've shown me compassionate, unconditional love. And, you know, my dad's not around anymore. And my mom really can't be there in this moment now. So, and, you know, I'm older now. Then you think of like, well, if I went to the other one, you know, so then what do you think of? Who do you think of? You know, who's left for you? You know, not to say that they're gonna try to treat you like you're their child or something, but genuinely outside of that kind of support, then you're left with a friend, you know. It'd be a friendship or someone you feel comfortable and safe next to, with, to share time and fun things with, you know, or even hard times. So I'm thinking about those people and they come to the forefront of my mind, you know. So I'm glad that they do. I don't know if it's different for other people because some people might not have anybody they're thinking of when they ask that question of who I'd give back to. And they might not have anyone. Or if they wanted to give back, maybe those people are not in their life anymore, or they're gone, or things didn't work out, or someone passed away. I felt like that about my dad for a long time because I felt like he was really the only person that understood me. You know, and then after I kind of accepted his loss, I made space for I guess more open to really seeing my friends for what they are and who was really there for me all this time. And that kind of gives you more of like a feeling of gratitude because it really was a test for that friendship, knowing that you were going through something very hard, maybe like loss, and then to see who's coming out on the other end for you, which is nice. So those people are in mind, thankfully. Hello, how are you? Hi, hi. Hello, hi. Hello, happy holidays. Do you have siblings? I do. I do have two. Yeah, it's a blessing. I feel blessed to have older siblings than me. They're about 20 years older than me, 21 to 25 years older than me. Come on. So I guess it's nice I really was able to learn from their mistakes. Just more examples, you know, in my life that were close examples, relative. Hey, hey, hey. Shh, shh. Are you coming up here or not? Sorry. She's going through it right now. But yeah, that's how I feel. I just feel good about that. And there might be people on my Bigo that 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 I wish I could give more to, you know, because it kind of makes me feel that way. And I guess I'm just thinking about stuff for the new year. Did she get scared of that? Hey, 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 hey. Did you get sprayed? I don't even know if I hit her with the spray or not. I don't think so. She looks fine. But I didn't realize she jumped down because of that. Up here, mama. I was just kidding about all that. I don't know if she thinks I'm gonna spray her again. Come up here, dude. But yeah. I hope you guys are well. I hope you're in the spirit of giving. Even if it's the day after Christmas, you know, giving yourself your time to somebody that might need it. My dad would tell me to not waste it. And that it goes by so fast. But it, you know, and I've to add to that, I realize that if you really look at it, there's a lot of mundane moments in life. So mundane that that's time just that passing by, you know? So you never know if you could just take your time with somebody. Is it really going to cost you much? You know? It costs memories at that point for somebody receiving your time. You know, memories lost, not had, moments not made. You know, kind of gets you out of selfishness a little bit, you know, so that's nice. Think about how maybe your time might affect somebody else if you were able to give it, you know. But yeah, appreciate you guys for the likes. And that's just what comes to mind whenever I think about that. There's a few people that I keep very close to me that I give a lot of my time in terms of advice and an ear to listen to. They live different lives than me, and they have maybe even different values, but we still align in some way in terms of love, you know. It's so nice to know that we can align in love, like what it means to love somebody and how to treat someone, you know. And I'm just grateful that I had found friends like that. And I'm glad that, you know, some of my friends are and family are willing to understand me and let me be me. I think that's the most genuine expression of love is when someone's able to let somebody else other than you be themselves for the sake of them wanting to be themselves. You know, not trying to shun them or talk them they're weird or tell them they're too much or to relax or, of course you can give advice to help them improve their life. Have you tried it like this, or have you thought of this, or what do you think about that? Offering suggestions. And even if it was a denial of what you offered, just say, okay, well, I just thought I'd tell you in case you didn't know. I wanted to help. And giving advice for me, I felt like was a way I could give back. Because I wasn't always able to really afford because of, you know, life. So some of my friends, they would sort of share in terms of a gift. I wish I could gift more. I wish I could. I guess the same kind of gifts they give me, because they give those gifts, so I assume they want those kinds of gifts back. They're not necessarily making me something from the bottom of their heart, you know what I mean, or something like that. And that's usually how I give a gift, by hand. And I got this gift over Christmas from one of my little cousins, and it's supposed to be a button. And I don't know why I keep thinking about it, even though I know it's silly and cute, and creative, but I was thinking about that. Like sometimes I don't know, I'm this little person in my life that's giving me these gifts is like so sweet. She always has something to give me, and she wants to always share, and I love that. And she doesn't have a sibling. So, sometimes she'll make things and give things to adults and stuff, and it's adorable, but, we're not going to use it. It's just art, you know. Not to say that we should use everything that somebody gives us if it's art. I'm not saying that. I just mean, she's just a kid. So that's all she can do. She doesn't have a job. She can't buy anything, but she makes me these things. And I was thinking of that when I was a kid. It was the same way. I tried to make somebody something like an art piece, you know. My dad would do that a lot. He would show affection by drawing someone something, making something by hand. See, making something by hand. Something tangible, and then giving it to them. And a card. Something. Tommy, stop wiggling! God damn, could you stop? She hasn't stopped. She's our mascot. Anyways, but you understand me, I hope. It's not to give. And it's okay if... Oh my God, her little heartbeat is beating so fast. Are you okay? Is it supposed to beat that fast? I'm scared. Are you all right? I got you, man. I got you. I don't know. I'm scared for her. I'm gonna have to put her over my shoulder. Hello. Hello, hello, hello. My poor cat is going through it. Sorry. I don't know what to do. Your heart's beating fast. I will set you down back here and hopefully you relax. Relax, mama. Shawty going through it. Shit. Thank you. She going through it. Her heart was beating really fast. But I don't know if their heart rate increases when they're in heat. I'm not sure if that is the thing. But anywho, yeah. If you watched that back, hopefully that made sense. Whatever the hell I just said. But yeah, we were just talking about the spirit of giving. And what would compel you to give to a particular person. What makes it the right person. Do you have a brother or sister? Yeah. I have a sister and a brother. Well, I don't have very much else to say, so I guess I'll go. Oh, as the youngest, I am honored. I am ignored by my siblings. I see. I relate to that. I guess I relate to that. I think whenever I was younger, it was more, well, I know, not I think, I know when I was younger, I was very much dismissed by my older siblings. They didn't want to take their time with me then. You know, I think they were at a place in their life where they didn't like kids. I don't know if they felt dissatisfied with my father and the fact that he wasn't with their mom. Um, you know, my mom's a very tough person and very guarded. So, you know, she doesn't really let anybody in emotionally if she feels, how do you explain it? It's more like, yeah, I guess that's it. She's just guarded, you know. She's been taken advantage of a lot, so I don't know if they really ever got to connect with her. Um, if other women are in their ego with her, she kind of feels like, you know, she's just not, like, I guess, because she would be more intimidating, so I don't know if my siblings ever got to really connect with her. But I know she doesn't mean it, you know. So I don't know if that's why they probably treated me away whenever I was younger. You know, I also had ADHD. I mean, I still have it. So at that point in your life, when you're not on medication or you're not like even aware that you have ADHD, you're treated differently, you know. People don't want to talk to you, they don't want to tolerate you, they think you're annoying. You're hyperactive if you are, and that can be annoying, you know. My siblings really rely on calm, and I don't know if also they were, maybe if they were shunned from being themselves when they were young children, because I know my father was a different man when they were being raised, and etc., you know. So, because I know he was shunned as well, so I don't know if they did that to them maybe think that that was okay to do to me, you know. So I did always feel like the black sheep whenever it came to them. They made me feel different. They also asked my dad a lot of the time to take me home. They didn't want me around. They thought I was so annoying, which hurts kind of, you know, realizing that when I get older, because it's like, like, you're supposed to love me and you're supposed to be my family. I wish you would have took your time with me. I wish you would have had more patience for me, because I know what it's like to not be liked, or I know what it's like to be bullied, and I know what it's like to, you know, wish I had a friend. You know, I wish, you know, I know what it's like when I was younger to wish somebody wanted to like me as much as I was so easily able to like them or anyone outside of my family, like in school. You know, that's how you feel in school, stuff like that. And I'm an only child, so they were so far removed. I was like, yeah, and I wish I even had a sibling, but I never felt that way, you know. And they would verbalize things, but it's how you treat people, you know what I mean? So thankfully now they would rather connect with adults, you know, and I'm an adult now, so they connect with me more, and we have I feel like our relationship's decent now, but when I was growing up, I felt that way. Ignored, um, not liked for me. Like I had to change, like I had to be something else to be liked by my family. Even though I was just having fun, you know, or being creative or being a child, you know. And I was forced to grow up at that point a lot. And I don't know if they did. And I think they did. So I don't know if that's probably how they treated me also, you know. I didn't really get to have a childhood. And I feel like they had more of a childhood than me, now that I think about it, because, you know, we didn't go anywhere in my household versus theirs. So, you know, and I didn't really get a chance to be a kid. So I think that's probably why I wanted to be so much like a kid or have fun like a child would, appropriate for their age with my siblings because, almost felt like, oh, I can't be this way at home. Maybe I can be this way with them. And, they're from my father's side. So, and they're cool and nice and, they live different lives than everybody else in our family. So I figured they would take me as I was. But, you know, you get, I guess my first forms of rejection were from my family. And it taught me a lesson. And it was good to know that I can come out on the other end and still be okay with me and appreciative of me and have been able to have a chest of resilience, and I think that's what's something I learned very young because of those interactions too. If I didn't have those tests from my siblings or my family or what have you, then I wouldn't be able to maybe deal with my other side of like being serious, my hats of being serious and, you know, I think I balance a lot of my stress in my life with being silly, and just making light of things and my humor. And that's always kept me going. So I'm glad I never left. And I'm glad I was able to just say, hey, I'm not for everybody. So I'm being bullied at school too. I have one friend, but my friend ignores me. I see. They're probably just tolerating you. They probably don't want to be your friend. They might feel bad for you. And I know what that's like. And sometimes when you're that young, though, people don't understand that that's how they're treating you. So I would just not hold anything over don't hold a grudge. They may not be self-aware like you are. Um, I didn't even know I was being ignored sometimes. So I think that's all right. You know, I think you're doing just fine. I think at some point you'll end up finding a friend. Trust me, there's people out there for everybody to be friends with. So it takes time. And when I was growing up, I usually had one friend at a time, one quality friend at a time. But it wasn't until, I got older, I realized, like, oh, I had to learn what passive aggressiveness was. I had to learn, maybe all the things you might be learning now to realize and see, hindsight's 2020. Like, maybe I wasn't being treated the best, although I had a friend. And as I gotten older, I realized what, you know, was more important to me in terms of a friend, how I was treated before that was maybe not the nicest. And then I just go from there. And my filter has gotten, I think, superb. I think the best. I feel like now I love my friends because I'm able to really see how I am able to be feeling loved and cared for as a friend. So then you go and find friends that can kind of align with that, your values. So, and I'm happy. And you know what? They like me. That's most important. They like me. Hello, 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 hello. And we still see each other. That's nice. I'm glad you were able to have a long friendship like that. Even when I'm withdrawn, I listen in class and I'm a good person. I believe you. Yeah, I believe that. I was the same way. It just takes time. I don't think I really got my first quality friend until maybe I was 17. Granted, there was probably adults between all of that that had my back and cared for me and showed me love. But in terms of my age, yeah, maybe I was about 17 years old. But I had friends up until then, but they weren't quality. I made memories with other people, had fun moments, and, be able to, try my best at things with them or take risks with them. But they weren't really quality friends. I just was occupying my time. But yeah, so it took me a long time. It took me 17 years to find a good friend. Even my parents don't believe me. I see. I think that's also what I felt. I didn't actually get a confirmation like maybe you have. But whenever I was younger, I felt like they wouldn't understand, so I never brought it up to them, and I was ashamed that I was getting bullied. It wasn't until after I graduated, my dad gave me the okay to just maybe had I just like hit somebody, punched them in the face, they would have left me alone, you know, stood up for myself physically because that's all they can communicate in. Unfortunately, when you're a child, you sound emotionally ultimately. Everybody else around you is probably too stupid, you know, and they think that they will probably categorize you as a nerd, or they think you're weird, or like they think you're a dork. You know, they won't even let you stand up for yourself. It's just like, it's like prison. It's just how kids are. They're mean. So, like, had I known that, had I gotten the okay that it would have been fine for me to stand up for myself physically, I probably would have been fine, but that was another test for me. I had to learn in a different way. I was so considerate of maybe the fact that I would be shamed by my family, that nobody would be able to really do anything, which is probably the reality, you know. It's the truth. If my parents went down there, it'd make me look more embarrassing, you know. So I probably learned, and glad I did learn, that all I had to do was maybe just, you know, just avoid those people as best I could, and asked to move classes, if anything, take accelerated classes to see if I could. This was all happening in high school too, but, you know. And I did, and I graduated early, and I didn't have to stay there very long. Granted, you know, it took my senior year to be able to really get out of it. So I basically had to stay the whole entire time. I asked if I can get homeschooled. I couldn't, you know. It was really embarrassing. But then I realized how I can handle embarrassment. I was able to get through that, you know, being bullied and having to deal with that, having people know that I got bullied or that I was getting teased or whatever, you know. It's embarrassing. So now, today, I'm able to say, hey, that wasn't so bad. I know myself so well, and you know, we're grown now. So if anybody was to say anything to me now, like, I know I know myself to the point where I'm not gonna let anybody make me second guess myself. You know, that gives you a sense of security, gives you some confidence, and usually people don't mess with you if you look confident. So, you know, it takes time, you know, and a lot of the time those people just liked me, but I didn't like them back, and they didn't know how to show it. You know what I mean? They just thought I was cute, and it was easier to bully me than try to connect with me, you know? But for me, you know, even then, I didn't find it attractive, so I just thought it was mean. You know what I mean? I didn't care how anybody looked, and I'm still like that to this day. I don't care how anybody looks. If they treated me mean, then they're really ugly. You know what I mean? I really don't like them. You know, it could like take them from a 10 look-wise down to a 0. You know what I mean? So I just value character more. So I always thought that they didn't like me because I really didn't like the way they treated me. But you know what I mean? I didn't realize until later, like, oh, that's how they were trying to express themselves, you know? That's pathetic. I still find it pathetic, you know? You shouldn't have to, it's a sign of like weak emotional maturity. So it just takes time to learn and get through it. And it makes you really strong if you can learn from it. If you let yourself be bullied all your life, well, I mean, then at that point I can deem you weak and lacking the ability to look inward. That goes for anyone, that goes for myself, you know. Kind of letting life go by you, even if you know better, is very unfortunate behavior, you know. It's a waste of time, and that is a waste of your time, really, when you're not learning. Learning yourself, learning what's right and wrong, taking what you might have done into consideration to cause it, you know. I would wear like flashy clothes, and I'd wear outfits that were like everybody could see me. So I'm like, no wonder I'm standing out, you know. But I was expressing myself, and I'm so glad I did. You know. Or even then I would just do embarrassing shit. Like, and I would draw so much attention to myself at that point. And I would be like a class clown, and I would make jokes, and I would disrespect the teacher, and I just wouldn't care. I wouldn't show up. So if I'm never there and then I'm all of a sudden in the classroom, it just draws attention to me without really me thinking about it. I smoked weed all the time. I'd smell like weed all the time. Everybody remembered me only smelling like weed whenever I meet people out of high school now. I'm like, that's what you remember? You know what I mean? It was so far along, way, way, way removed from me now. So it's just like, that's weird that that's the only thing people really notice. And that's sad, So yeah, like I was sticking out a lot. It was so different. I was so me. That made me think like, well, no wonder. No wonder I'm drawing attention to myself. They make fun of me at school because I'm from a small town. I moved to the city 2 years ago. That's a weird thing to bully somebody about. Where they're from. I used to feel that way, insecure about where I lived, because it is similar. It's a small town. It's not really a prominent city. It's known to be like like the bottom of the barrel in the state that I live in. And that's across media too. Like, we're known for that. So it's embarrassing a little bit when you're growing up, but there's a lot of things that I value that align with me living here. And it's always financial reasons. Everything else can go out the door. I don't like it either, but there's reasons I can appreciate where I live. And so I don't really let anybody put that onto me. Like, how could you? You know, I always get that flack from people who live in big cities, and I always laugh at them because it's like, you guys are kind of just like living paycheck to paycheck, and you're living in a big city. You know, it feels a little bit performative, a lot of the time when I'm talking to those people. Their lives are performative. They live for other people other than themselves. They're going to go broke with their lifestyle living in the city just because they're living in the city. Their values are different than mine. You know what I mean? Maybe living in the city keeps them inspired, or maybe living in the city, makes them feel more of a person than they are when they're not, makes them feel like their time's filled more, you know. Maybe it helps them deal with loneliness, living in a city, having more sound and people around them, or whatever the case is. So I don't knock it. I just know that nobody can tell me anything about where I'm at in my life, you know? So on purpose, I'm here to save money. Like, that's what I'm doing, to be able to feel fulfilled and not feel like I'm drowning in bills. I can afford things when I live here. And the same things that you can get in the city, I can even have more of. In this city, I can have like a bigger square footage apartment for the same rent. Somebody might be paying for less square footage, etc. So, yeah, I just find things that I think of are important to me, why I live here, and don't forget those things. And agree with them if it's true. Yeah, this place sucks. But it's more important to me that my life is taken care of in my future, so I value that more. And I don't really care, but that's why we live different lives. That's why you're over there and I'm over here. You know what I mean? Don't forget where you're at and why you're living your life. It's more important than what anybody might have to say. They're probably also saying that because it's something they should be saying to themselves. It's probably exactly why they're in the city. It's projection. So, or they're probably repeating something somebody else told them, unfortunately, projecting something else that people heard and which bullied them into thinking that they need to live an expensive lifestyle and move somewhere else to feel more of value to other people, and they're not really living a life that they feel like they can support. So that's a lie, and it's stupid. So yeah, I'm gonna stay right here until I can, have more for myself, work my way up to having that, humble myself a little, if not a lot. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about that either at all, you know? Same. I have some friends that I had to leave, sadly. I see. Stand out, embarrass myself sometimes as I'm taller than a lot of people at school. It's a great thing to be tall. Those motherfuckers are making you feel bad because they're probably short as shit. And you're a man, so it's like that's such a thing a lot of men in this life wish they had for whatever reason. They wish to be tall. So don't make fun of them back. Especially if you're in high school, if you're older, you know? And 100%, they're just upset. They want you to feel insecure because they can't have it. To make themselves have the playing field become equal, you know? To have them see it isn't a good thing, you know? Because it's making them feel better in their mind about what they can't have. And people will try to trick you into thinking that. That's just not true. It's just to make themselves feel good. Don't fall into that trap. Embrace what you have. That's all you have. But I'm good now. I'm glad you've gotten past it. They lied to me in the classroom. I'm basically a grown man. I'm 5'3". Wait, what? I'm screaming. I'm screaming. Now you said I'm tall and you 5'3". Love that. Go ahead, King. Go ahead. I love that. They lie to me in the classroom. Yeah, sweetie pie, don't listen to that. Just don't listen. If it's bullshit and you know it, just say you got it. This motherfuckers is stupid as shit. Sounds like it, you know. It's see, look at it, and you can tell you know it's a lie. You know, you're self-aware. You're gonna be just fine. You're gonna be just fine. Yeah. Don't believe anything that you know is not true. For a fact that you know it's not true. You could look it up and you know it's not true. You know what I mean? Don't go based on how you feel, you know. Just take a step back when you go home, say, is this true? And then that, you don't even have to prove anything. Just try to find the truth. If it comes down to you deciphering lies, all that matters is that you know the truth. And let them fail. Literally, let them fail. Let them be foolish in their lack of self-awareness or lack of willingness to lower their pride and ego to find the real truth, you know? It has nothing to do with you. Well, I'm glad you're standing up for yourself. Yeah, that's important. Oh, yeah. I'm sure you guys will be okay. And it's tough, you know? It's just really tough when you have no one to really tell that to, you know? It's tough when you have to even have that be your reality, you know? When you might look at other kids and say, you know, just other people in life, like, they didn't have the same problems as me. I wish I had that. I wish I was accepted, or wish I was validated in being able to be myself. Oh my God, please shut up. Jesus Christ, Padme. Padme. But you know what I mean. Appreciate you guys for the likes. As you get older, all that just falls away. You don't think about it. Thankfully, you don't. Once you come to a place of literally taking the time to think about yourself, as you're doing now, it only comes with that. It only comes with you taking time outside of the days that you have bad days with people and they try to tell you how you're being. You sit with yourself at the end of the day and you do your work, you know, because that's so important for when you're an adult or when you're not in that circumstance anymore, when school's over or whenever college is over or whatever the case is. and you sit to yourself at night and say, is what they said is true? And if it is true, how is it true? And what did I actually do? You know, what did I actually do? Did I really do that? Okay, yeah, I did do that. Admit to yourself. Have no fear in admitting to yourself if it's true. And let people be right if they're right. You know what I mean? That way you can really learn from it. If I didn't accept that I embarrassed myself and I really did something stupid, then I'd be living a lie, if that makes sense. You know what I'm saying? So definitely don't lie to yourself if you're wrong, you know. Don't lie to yourself. It does more for you in your adult life than anything. Some people just say, nope, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. And then they still embarrass themselves years and years and years from now. Still doing the same stupid shit and wasting their time and being too prideful to look in, being too afraid to look inward, and never really getting to fully fulfill who they are and really know themselves, because they live a lie. They'd rather live a lie. They'd rather not live in reality. They'd rather not actually address issues. They don't want anything wrong with them. It's scary to do that. And they never become confident, ever. And they keep getting the same result that they got when they were little kids. And they keep getting rejected still, and they still keep getting embarrassed, and they still probably don't have friends, and they still don't have a chance to date anybody or love anybody or be with anybody. They still annoy people in their family. They don't have friends that really like them. They don't want to accept that maybe they're doing something wrong. So if people are saying things that, you know, are maybe true, like I was saying about where I live, yeah, this place fucking sucks. If I'm getting bullied because it sucks, I mean, yeah, just, I would say, yeah, fuck yeah, shit sucks. Shit sucks. But the only reason I'm here is, you know, yeah, I'm saving a lot of money being here. And then I've had a lot of people be like, yeah, you're right. I am wasting a lot of fucking money. This is really expensive. Yeah, you're right. I guess that is more important for the rest of my life. You know, be confident. Own it. You have to just own it. There's nothing you can do or say